Hey, for those that are here, go ahead and state that you can hear me. Go ahead and just type in the chat and say, "Hey, Aaron, I'm here." State where you're from. Let me know that you're alive, basically, and then we'll get rolling. How's everybody doing? Man, you guys are quiet today. Usually, I have a little bit of more people talking back and forth in the chat. A little bit quiet, huh? Okay, well, either way, I'm gonna get rolling. So if you guys do have questions during this webinar, during this presentation, feel free to type in the chat, whether you're on Facebook, you're on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever it is, I can see it. So feel free to just type your comment and I'll be able to see it on my end and be able to answer it live. I'll go ahead and change this to say, if you have a question at any point during this, it is recorded, so we can always come back to it as well. But I'll be here the entire way, answering questions, any of them live as I walk through some of the points that we'll talk about. But as mentioned in the title, we're going to cover some of the profitable digital marketing strategies that we're seeing right now. Some doing really, really well. Other strategies and platforms not doing so hot. So we'll start out the gate answering like what is working well and what's not, and then we'll get some more like nuanced items like how you really get all of the juice or the return on investment from your advertising efforts or any type of digital marketing that you're doing. So with that being said, let's get into it. So we'll talk about just the quick answer on, as I mentioned, what's working right now. And then we'll get into some of the more detailed items. So we'll talk about branding, we'll talk about local SEO, we'll talk about different strategies, networking, experience and retention, technology, and then ultimately measuring your performance. But to get to the brass tacks, like what are the most profitable digital marketing strategies right now? The first one right now, Google local service ads by far, in terms of advertising, just digital marketing in general, by far is the most profitable. Now, it depends on your area, it depends on your region, it depends on your individual market. For example, I know companies that are in, say, for example, South Florida. And in South Florida, it's very expensive. And you have a lot of price-conscious consumers, but also a lot of different businesses out there that have different models for pricing. So you could be fighting on price a little bit more in certain areas compared to states like Oklahoma or Maine perform really, really well and get tons of business. And there's a little competition in terms of other people in local service ads. So it really depends on your individual market when you're like a local business on how your individual market is performing. But by far, local service ads right now is the most profitable. As we'll talk later, though, in this webinar, is it really takes a holistic approach to your online advertising and just digital marketing in general to truly be effective, right? It is not, you could just jump into advertising and get the best return on investment. It can help. Like you can advertise and you can get business. You can be profitable. However, when you have this holistic approach to your digital marketing strategy, each one is going to complement the other, and ultimately improve your return on investment and produce more cash overall for your business. So again, out the gate, quick answer right now: Google local service ads. Google search ads, again, depends on your area, depends on your market. Used to be okay, but now it's falling back a little bit behind Google local service ads. Bing advertising or Microsoft advertising, same thing. Yelp can be hit or miss. We've had in the past a few years ago where it hit really, really well. We have yet to see, though, that it starts performing really well on Yelp recently. But as with digital marketing, things change. As you probably have seen, artificial intelligence has been a big conversation piece, especially when it comes to like search. So with that being said, things could change 3 months from now. Just depends. So here's some quick numbers, just looking at Google local service ads for this particular company, for example. This company spends, and let me remove my face here. Get a 500% return. So just so you know, like I'm not lying or saying like this doesn't work or anything like that. This absolutely can work. Here's just an example of a company showing the return on investment in the actual numbers. If you need, if you don't have these numbers, you're spending a significant amount of money on advertising. Make sure you have something that you're actually tracking the return on investment like this, to where you can see what you're actually quoting, what your team's putting out, and what the opportunity is. Because what happens is, if we're doing a bunch of advertising and you're putting a bunch of quotes out there, but you're not getting anything in return, there's an issue. So that's why we're looking at, hey, how much are you quoting? And then how much are you returning into net sales from there? Because there could be an issue with the lead quality. There could be an issue with the conversion. It could be not a lead quality issue, but more so having an issue converting those leads. So make sure you have just something that you can track what you're actually putting out there in terms of quotes and what you're returning in terms of sales. So now let's get into the holistic approach and how you actually approach digital marketing in general in order to actually get a positive return on investment. Like I mentioned, you can run Google local ads and some companies are going to perform well, but if you do that just by itself, more than half of the companies is not going to work. And the reason being is because we need to start with the basics. And I know this sounds like, hey, we're just going back to like, hey, I know this stuff already. I shouldn't need to focus on this stuff. You really need to revisit it every, I don't know, about a year or so, every quarter. Maybe just check in with yourself and make sure you're still aligning with this, just because some of this information in here can be detrimental to your overall strategy. So understanding your market, identify target audience, and analyze your competitors. So for example, who's your initial target audience? And understanding that will give you the segue to where I should be advertising, what service area, and who I should be targeting, and the type of message I should be saying to them. Analyzing competitors. So first off, looking at your strategic position. What does their website look like versus yours? What about their social medias? What do their social medias look like versus yours? Have we noticed them in any real estate offices? So if you're doing any type of boots on the ground marketing, anything like that, have you noticed them? Are they doing any type of paid advertising? And then with the advertising and marketing, do they have a ton more Google reviews or Yelp reviews than you? Are they positioned as a low cost option or a high value option? And then finally, what are they doing, not doing, or not doing right? So analyze your competitors and look for, hey, how should I position my company in the market to target the right audience? What is my competitor doing really well? What are they not doing really well? Where can I capitalize in some areas? And where can I make some huge improvements? A big area that a lot of companies can make huge improvements is social media. They just don't give it the time and investment that it needs. But looking at your competitors and kind of doing a little bit of an audit to say, hey, my social media needs some help versus the competitor, or versus what I'm seeing with my competitors, that honestly will take a look at your own company and say, that's the piece that I'm missing that I need to ensure I'm investing time and money into. So going back to, hey, now we've looked at our target audience. Now we've looked at our strategic position versus our competitors. We can look at branding and positioning. So making sure that we evaluate our existing logo, color scheme, and design elements, making sure it's still unique, but also still matching the target audience and showing a strategic position in the market in our local area. Two, we have a nice mission statement as well as core values for relevance. So again, this seems like elementary, but honestly, this is where the foundation pieces start. If you're just saying like, "Hey, I'm another home inspection company," great. There's tons of them. What makes you different? Why is somebody going to choose your company over another? And having this type of branding and positioning is really going to be able to help you as well as the consumer decide why they should choose you. And then finally, sync that with your marketing. So sync your logo, colors, fonts, your branding, and your overall position, your mission, and your core values, what your company is about with your actual marketing materials and online presence. So that not only goes for your brochures, business cards, and everything else, but it also goes with your social media. It goes with your website. It goes with your emails and anything else that you're seeing online. So once you have these foundation pieces on, you can actually start on the fun stuff, the actual digital marketing. And it starts with a good local SEO plan and some Google Business Profile optimizations. So I'm not saying you need to, but by all means, you need to purchase anything here. This is all free and available that you could do on your own. So first, you need to claim and optimize your Google Business Profile. If you're not familiar with that, just Google Business Profile. It's free to set up. You can do it on your own. You don't need some type of huge agency to do it for you. It is something that you can do on your own. And ultimately, you need to accumulate reviews to bolster your credibility. If you do not have a Google Business Profile and you do not have good reviews or a good review rate, meaning for every job you do, you should be converting 20 to 30% of those jobs into an online review, like a Google review, you're going to be hurting yourself. Because what happens is now if we go into advertising, we don't have as many reviews compared to the competitors, or they're not as good. All of this is a comparison online. When we show, for example, the most profitable advertising strategy right now, which is local service ads, you're going head to head with your competitors in your local market, and it will be clear as day what your Google Business Profile looks like and the amount of reviews you have and the overall rating. So it is very, very important that not only do we have the branding and the positioning right, but we have a good review rate. We are automating the process for obtaining reviews, and we're getting a ton of good Google reviews. If we don't have that, could be wasting a lot of money when it comes to advertising or any type of other marketing that we're doing online. So this is that foundation piece that's so important that nobody really talks too much on. They just say, oh, do Google local service ads. Well, it doesn't help you to do Google local service ads if you don't have this piece to it. So set up some type of review request system. This is just showing a screenshot of like what this might look like if you were like had some type of automation. But if you're utilizing any like modern scheduling software such as Spector or ISN, anything like that, it has capabilities to send emails and text messages within that platform. That's enough. You should be able to send emails and text messages to both your buyer's agents and your clients. Send it at the same time. Right when you send the report, you're going to send an email and a text message to both the client and the agent. A separate email and text message, not with the reports or anything else, just asking, hey, can I have your feedback? Click this link, leave me a review. It really helps. And then send it the next day as well. That is really, there's a little bit more to it, but that is going to be your foundation for getting a good review rate. This is just another step within our own system where we have a little filter in place that asks, hey, how was your experience? Did you have a great experience or bad experience or poor experience? Kind of filter out anybody that needs to leave any feedback for your individual company. If they select great experience, it goes directly to Google. If they select poor experience, then it goes to a feedback form that goes back to your office. There's other systems that are available on the market that do this same thing, but this is another option that you can implement if you wanted to. Again, you don't need to. But it's important that you actually have just some type of automated system in order to request reviews, because that review rate, as I've harped on already, is so important for scaling into other digital marketing avenues. So once we have that, once we have the good branding, positioning, strategic position, we have an optimized Google business profile, we have a good review rate, then we can start dipping our toes into some digital marketing strategies. So the first one is a web design. I'm going to remove my face again. Business. And so here's some example websites that you can look up on your own. Again, this is recorded so you can go back and look at it, but this is how you can understand or compare different sites. We get tons of questions about like, hey, is my site good? Ultimately, look on your own mobile phone, scroll through your own website, give yourself some honest feedback. Ask your friends, ask your family, ask some professionals what they think. Ultimately, you just need, if you're looking to get started in terms of digital marketing, you just need a decent website, a good website. It doesn't have to be something truly amazing. You don't need to spend tons and tons of money here. We need to do the foundations right. We need to get a good review rate, and we need to have a decent website that looks professional. After that, we could start focusing on, hey, do we have some good basic SEO foundations in place? So those are, do we have a sitemap? Are we integrated with Google Analytics? Do we have meta descriptions in place? Do we have optimized image names? Meaning like, hey, the image file on my website is labeled Home Inspector City. Are we connected with Google Search Console? Are we using the proper meta tags? Do we have proper SEO titles? And then finally, do we have our keywords on page? This is a bunch of technical SEO jargon here, but if you purchase a website through somebody and they say it includes SEO, this is generally what we're talking about here. This is kind of like your checklist of items that, hey, these are the most important items that you ask your web designer. Hey, does it include these things? Can you tell me a little bit more about these things? And they should be able to educate you about what it means, what exactly they're doing, and what's specifically included with their actual web designs themselves. If you're not sure, this is your time to either go to somebody that is on Upwork, like a freelancer, or go talk to a marketing agency that can kind of do an audit of your website. Don't freak out if an agency goes to you and says, yeah, here's your PDF file of your audit and it looks like crap, but we can fix everything for you for $1,000 or whatever it is. Some agencies, for whatever reason, they like to be alarmists and say like, hey, you got tons of issues and it's going to be this huge like fee to fix. Again, this stuff is basic stuff in terms of marketing agencies or SEOs. It is the bare minimum. So get a few different opinions. See what other marketing agencies might have to say about, about your individual site. Because what we're going for here is the basics. And as we progress and you start doing everything at the basics, we could start going a little bit deeper into each one. And now we're no longer doing it, hey, we're doing it well. Now we're doing it really good. And now we're the best at it. That's what our goal is here. So with SEO, before moving on, making sure that you're just hitting these check marks on here. You have the basics down. Next, we need to get the basics down for your social media profiles. You should be at least on Facebook and Instagram and post 3 times a week. You can honestly do it yourself. There's a lot of people, though, that don't want to do it themselves, don't know how to do it themselves, and need help. And that's okay. You can reach out to an agency and ask for help. You can, hire, maybe it's a daughter, a son, maybe it is somebody out of college, and you're going to hire them part-time to do it. That's totally cool. But you should at least be on Facebook and Instagram and post 3 times a week. From there, you can audit yourself and your local competitors. Look at your local competitors. What do their profiles look like? Do they look professional? How does yours look like? Ask your friends and family here. Ensure your settings are correct. Just go through the settings of your profile on your phone. Make sure everything is complete and accurate and filled out. Make sure you have business pages, right? It's not personal profile, but it's actually a business page on Facebook and LinkedIn, for example. You have professional profiles on TikTok and Instagram, right? It's not just, again, your own personal page, but it is actually a business page. And then we also have Facebook and Instagram connected in a Meta Business Suite. This is a little bit more technical, but again, if you have business pages and business profiles, you should be able to connect them within Meta Business Suite, which is basically Facebook's profile or basics of Facebook's integration. Browse what settings exist for each platform. What value are you adding to viewers each day? And are you being strategic with content? Research each platform's algorithm. So we start getting a little bit more technical here, but ultimately, with the post that you're putting out, are you actually adding a little bit of value? Are you being entertaining somehow, making people laugh? And are you educating your customers or potential referral partners? Now, here's some examples of some post ideas to go along with this. So you can do selfies of while you're on site or on the job, defect photos, defect videos with you explaining what the issue is, show how to complete a routine maintenance item, such as changing a filter. Really anything of you being on the job and educating what it's about. And this goes with any type of industry, not just home inspections. It goes with pest control. It goes with whatever it is. Obviously, too, memes, jokes, things like that. They perform really well, too. Next step with your social media, take it to the next level. You need to find and follow and engage with agents in your local area. Set 15 minutes each day or each week to do that. So that is just on your phone, on your mobile device, and scrolling and finding active real estate agents on Instagram, for example, and following them and interacting with them, commenting, liking. You maybe even sending them a direct message. You can't be afraid to do that. You can use hashtags and location tags to even search for your people in your service area, like hashtag Tampa real estate or hashtag Orlando real estate. You can track KPIs such as, hey, how is my audience size increasing? How is my followers increasing over time? Make sure you respond quickly to any DMs or comments. Utilize different features as you get a little bit more involved with it, such as using stories, reels, and highlights to stay on top of mind in between feed posts. And one thing I like to say is you do not need your logo on every post. You do not need to have like some professional post that has like your branding and your logo on it. Your logo should be your profile image, and that appears next to every post anyway. So you don't need to have your logo on every post too. Now, this sounds like a lot, but what our goal is, again, we want to get started with each little thing and do each little thing just a little bit, just enough, and then take it to the next level, which is what we're doing here. We're taking it to the next level. Once we get comfortable with, say, Facebook and Instagram, we're going to take it to the next level. Here's some resources for you. A lot of people know Canva and utilize Canva. That's a very popular one. ChatGPT, obviously, too. OpenAI. But here's a couple other ones, too, that you can look up and see for yourself how you like them. Content marketing. So we get the question all the time, hey, should I be writing blog posts for my website? The answer is yes, you should be. But we need to do it in a way that is actually going to be useful for our time. Julio asks, what is your opinion with Site 123? I'm not familiar, Julio or Julio, if it's Julio or Julio. I'm not familiar with Site 123. Let me know what you mean by Site 123. So starting with a blog post, the blog post should be centered around a keyword that people actually search for and that your website can rank for. So an example, not what is a home inspection, but hey, when you should replace your shingle roof in Maine, in California, Southern California. Very specific about the item itself. You're not going to rank for the keywords like what is a home inspection. To show you the example of this, if I'm on Google here and I search what is a home inspection, and we look at the top one, it's an insurance company. You are not going to outrank this insurance company. This next one is NAR, National Association of Realtors. You're not going to outrank NAR. So instead, write about something like, what is a reverse polarity outlet? These are really good because, as you can see, now we're starting to get like actual home inspectors. We're getting maybe some videos that you can create, or this one right here from a home inspection company. These are more specific items that you can write about. More nuanced, yes. More niche, yes. But this is what's actually going to generate traffic for you, and people are actually going to want to read this stuff and hear it from you because you are the expert in that field. So Julio says, I did mine with them. Game changer inspections. I'll check it out at the end, Julio. So I'll come back to this and I'll give you my feedback on it live. Okay. I'll get through just the rest of the content that I have, but I love you being able to chat in and send me it. If you guys have any other websites you want me to check out too, besides Julio's, just go ahead and give me a comment and I'll be able to read it on my end here. And at the end, I'll go over your sites. Fill in with images. A blog post is not that great if it's just a bunch of text, right? It needs to have some really good images to it. So if you're writing about a reverse polarity outlet, you should have an image about or show a reverse polarity outlet and maybe show a diagram of what it means. And then share your blog posts. It's really great content for social media. It's really great content to email out. And you can even use the blog post itself to generate a short form video that you could just record on your phone. It doesn't have to be super crazy. Again, we're starting with the basics and then we're going to scale from there. So for example, Julio, you're chatting with me. If you write a blog post about how long does my roof last in Southern California, for example, get your butt up on a roof and start talking about why it lasts so long and why it needs to be replaced and the signs for it. Just anything that you would talk about in a blog post, just record yourself on your phone and post it up. Okay, halfway through email marketing. So with email marketing, you first need to choose a software. There's tons of different email marketing softwares out there. I can give my opinion on a couple different ones. ActiveCampaign is one of my favorites. If you're a customer with Wolfpack, we have a CRM that we recommend. You need to build your email list. So this is all the real estate agents you're working with. This is all of your clients and consumers and other referral partners. And then you need to provide actual value in your emails. If you just send a newsletter with just generic content, nobody's going to really care, right? Think about for yourself, what emails do you actually open and read? There's one that I read consistently every single day, and it's about the news. And it's because it's providing actual value to me. But if I get a newsletter from, my AC guy, and it's showing a bunch of his reviews, I don't care. It would be more impactful and valuable if he told me, hey, this is how you can make your AC last a little bit longer this summer, right? That would go a long way. That's going to help you grow your email list and then just rinse and repeat. Continue building that email list and providing more value. Next, we get into paid advertising. So I want to be very clear here. Advertising is not just a cakewalk. Everybody thinks it's a cakewalk. It's not. If it was, everybody would be successful and we'd have tons of business. Costs on advertising platforms actually just increase when more people spend money. It's an entire just auction. If you go to an actual auction itself and you're auctioning off, let's say a car or a house or whatever it is, people are constantly bidding more and more, right? It's the same thing in online advertising. People are bidding more and more for the same lead. As more people bid, the price goes up. So if you're going to get into advertising, be prepared to now you're starting to compete in that bidding and auction process, right? And you need to put your best foot forward in showing why a consumer should choose you, which starts with the whole foundation piece, which starts with the reviews, your strategy, your branding, all of that good stuff wraps together and really creates a strong value proposition for why somebody should choose you when you get into paid advertising. So to do well on paid advertising, you need to have a strategic advantage over your competitors. Acquisition costs, meaning the cost to acquire a customer or a lead of new real estate agents, is high. Large home inspection businesses understand this and are willing to pay money. It's not about when you advertise as a home inspection company or as any company, it's not about the lead. It is about the lifetime value of the lead, everything else that comes with it. If I'm a home inspection company, it's about not the one home inspection, but the chance to meet a new buyer's agent and a new real estate or listing agent and to get their business from them. If I'm a pest control company or anything else, maybe subscriptions, it's not about the initial subscription sale. It's about the entire lifetime value and possible referrals that I'm getting. So we need to consider that when we go into any type of paid advertising. That, hey, maybe you're not profitable on the first inspection, but you're actually profitable overall because net average new agent brings you 3 inspections. So this brings us back to Google Local Service Ads, the most popular, profitable way to advertise right now. If you're not doing it, jump into it, get started with it. You can set it up yourself. If you want an expert, something like Wolfpack Advising to help you with it, we obviously help companies optimize their Google Local Service Ads and get a better return on investment, but it's something that you can do on your own. This is what it looks like, where it shows this Google Guaranteed badge or this green check mark, and then it shows these businesses. This is your priority placement on Google search for home inspector searches versus this regular organic section, which is non-paid. So majority of the leads are the people calling. They're going here now. They're not going here anymore. Google search ads is your next step. This is your typical original Google ads. This is where you type in different keywords and you want to appear. This is your next step after doing Google Local Service Ads. And this is what Google search ads looks like. This is that actual advertisement here where we can see it's sponsored. Let's see if I could zoom in for you. This is what it looks like sponsored. Here's that post. And then we could see these are our regular organic stuff. So this is typical search engine optimization stuff. Majority of the leads, again, are going to the Google Guaranteed. Then I would probably say this map section. And then after that, they're going into these organics and regular Google search ads. So it's important for you to have this holistic strategy and do every little thing that you can in order to improve in the overall picture, not just, one particular one. We can't forget about everything else. So other ad programs, you could do Bing ads or Microsoft advertising, Yelp ads or Yelp advertising, and then social media advertising. So really only getting to social media though, once you've done everything else, because social media is one of those things where the consumer is not really on that for home inspections, to purchase home inspections. It's you can imagine it like e-commerce stores do really well, right? But in the home inspection space, nobody knows they want a home inspection or need a home inspection until they need it. And they only have a short inspection window. Pest control, on the other hand, can work really well because you can constantly target somebody for pest control advertising, maybe once it's about to hit that season for you. It could be a long buying process of a month of deciding, hey, do I need a pest control person or company to come out? Finally, we need to track the return on investment. With any type of marketing that we're doing, we need to have some sort of way that we can look at, hey, what are our leads from all of our channels, from Google ads, from Bing ads, or organic, meaning SEO, and what's our quote value, what's our sales, what's our conversion rate, how well are we doing? Without this picture, we don't know what's working and what's not. So you need to have some sort of way to track the return on investment. You could do things like what converts or call rail. Those are the two most popular ones in order to track the return on investment. Of course, if you work with a marketing agency, they should be able to show you something like this. If they're not showing you something like this, I would ask them to show you something like this, or if they can help you with that. If they can't prove the return on investment or give you like a reasonable expectation of what to expect, I would be cautious about that particular agency. All right, final couple points here. Maximizing your return on investment. We get into a bunch of little things with advertising. It's not just about like what the costs are in advertising. It's about increasing your click-through rate or the amount of people that will click on your ad. Tracking conversion rates. So you want to aim for like a 10% conversion rate from each click that you get. Tracking qualified leads versus unqualified leads. So we want about 80% of our leads that we get in total to be of good quality, meaning they actually need our services. Tracking qualified leads to sold jobs or sales. So we want to aim for a 35 to 50% sales conversion rate, meaning like, hey, once we actually get the good lead, we can convert like every third or every other lead. Track repeat referral business after the initial sale, and then track our total return on investment. Our goal should be a 500% return on investment, meaning for every dollar we put in, we get $5 out. My point in this breakdown here is not to necessarily overwhelm you, but to look at these are all the steps in order to actually get from advertisement to book job and to actual money in pocket. And these are all the steps where it could go wrong. So we need to do all these steps right in order to maximize the return on investment. If our conversion rate from each click is really bad, then all of this stuff down here is going to be really bad. If our majority of our leads aren't good quality, then we can't expect to be able to convert what we need in order to get the 500% return on investment. So this is kind of like your template to understand, hey, if it's not working, it's got to be one of these things, one of these 6 items for why it's not working. Finally, networking partnerships. We cannot forget. We need to forge beneficial relationships with real estate agents and local business groups. It's about who you know and who knows you, right? At the end of the day, people buy from people that they know and trust. It's not just about, I'm going to spend money and all of a sudden I'm going to have business. You still need to go out and do the networking and the partnerships. You need to be part of networking groups, sponsor offices and classes and other events, and doing other sponsorships, going out on a Saturday and going to those open houses or any other community events that you could be a part of to get your name out there a little bit more. It's not all, as much as I would hope that everything's about digital marketing and online marketing, it's not. There is still a human piece even after COVID and everything else. So we cannot forget to do that. Last piece, I promise, customer experience and retention. Just make sure that through all of this, you're still delivering the same exceptional service every single time. And you implement some type of follow-up strategy that keeps you on top of mind without becoming a nuisance. So you still need to make sure you're providing that great customer experience and you're retaining your referral partners or your customers in order to reach a better lifetime value or an overall value from getting a new agent or a new customer. Because then again, that helps the cycle and helps you bid more in terms of, hey, I can spend more in advertising because my value for my agents or from my customers is a whole lot more. So I just want to end on this agent lifecycle for home inspection companies. Every agent is going to have a life cycle with you. There's going to be a point where they don't know you and they're new. Then they're going to be retained with you and work with you and refer you a few times. At some point, they become inactive and maybe stop working with you. And you can work to revive them or get them to work with you again. And then at some point, they end their careers or they go off to another inspection company. It's important at each step of these agent lifecycle milestones that we do some type of follow-up. So we work to create automations and sequences to follow up automatically at these different points. And I'd recommend you do the same. You can have a separate CRM. You can work with somebody like Wolfpack. I'm not sure if there's other companies that work specifically with home inspectors on this. I don't think that there's anybody really doing it well that I know of. But when it comes to just that customer experience part and like the retention, this is that. We need to focus on, hey, welcoming our new buyer's agent, retaining them, thanking them for their business, following up with them if we haven't heard from them in a while, trying to get them to come back to us, and then at some point we may lose them. You can use different methods of communication for that. You can use like email, SMS, phone call, postcards, or letters, gift cards, lunch, coffee, or some personal meeting, slide broadcast, which is like voicemails, and then some type of personalized gift. Maybe it's like a mug or something like that. But you can mix in all these different types of methods of communication at different points in this agent lifecycle. So it's important not just send emails constantly, but hey, we're doing a phone call or a text message, or we're meeting them personally for a coffee. At the end of the day, we need to measure our success, set clear metrics and KPIs, set goals for everything that we're doing within here. Take your notes of all these different steps and set goals to refine your marketing strategies continuously. You're going to do this for a month, a quarter, 6 months, half a year to a year, and you're going to be in a whole different place after looking at, hey, what was your initial goal and where are you at today? But you need to have some type of goal and measure that success over time to understand where you came from and improve upon it. So at this point, we're getting into some other items like tracking lead sources and stuff like that. This is more like Wolfpack stuff, projecting like what you're earning. But I do want to get into, I don't want to get too much into Wolfpack stuff. I do want to get into your questions. So Julio, I'm going to pull up your website if you're okay with that. If you're still here, let me know if you're good, if I pull up your website and we'll critique it live. We do have this full roadmap to your success. If you're interested, just let me know. You can go to our website, just wolfpackadvising.com, and get a proposal button at the top right. And I'll talk with you about this roadmap to success. Each company is a little bit different, so we do have to customize it a little bit. But it's all about assessing where you're at, making a plan, engaging your prospects, retaining them, capturing them, and reassess and adjusting. Awesome. Well, that's it. So Julio, I'm gonna pull up your website then. All right. So we're going to Game Changer Inspections. You did it with site 123. Okay, so just out the gate, Julio, I have it open now. And let me take this banner off. There we go. Okay. So out the gate with this, just so that way you can see, and also I'm going to show that as a background. There we go. Obviously it's really hard to see this. I'm not sure what's going on here. And your contrasting colors are terrible at this top, Julio. I definitely recommend more contrast between what's the active page or hovering over, because this is very difficult to read. I would probably recommend getting rid of all this stuff. And I would say that some items are more important than others on your menu. I'm being a little bit picky here, Julio, just so that way you can have the information. But generally, what I would recommend for like a site menu structure format is have services, number one, the most important. You can have any type of benefits or about us, a blog. I wouldn't even really worry about having a contact page at the top. You just want something very clear for a call to action. You can see it's a different color. It's very prominent here as well as here. And then we have some trust or certification badges. So those are all like the good formats for like how we'd want to structure this. If I scroll down, you can see there's more trust stuff, and then we get into their services. Another example of this is, here's another site. Again, we have services, resources, and stuff, but we have, again, clear call to actions in the top right with contrasting colors, and some nice trust badges here are basically social proof. And as I scroll down, we get into more like unique USPs, some cool videos, and their actual services. So for your particular site, I would work on the contrasting colors, and I think you need a little bit more of better call to actions at the top. Your call now, I would put it as your actual phone number, because some people, if I'm on my desktop here, now I see right here that we have an actual phone number, so I need to call that number. I would list it here at the top, and maybe make the call to actions the same color. You do need some trust badges as well, Julio. So you need some like Google reviews, or like show that you're Google guaranteed or anything like that. Pricing guides, a little bit small. Your reviews are down here, which is great, but we need to have like your overall rating or like something like that near the top to quickly establish that authority and trust. Other than that, like, it's not bad. It's getting the job done. I'm being a little bit picky for you. The biggest thing though is in terms of impact is I would adjust this top, show more social proof, the contrasting colors here, and adjusting the menu structure a little bit more, getting rid of this stuff because you don't need it. and then adjusting your call to action. Other than that, though, it's not terrible. It's getting the job done. It's interesting how you're doing your schedule. I've never seen it done like that. All right. Any other questions before I head out? No? All right, guys. Well, I appreciate y'all being here. It is recorded, so you guys can go back to this recording at any point. But thank you all for spending the time in the afternoon with me. If you guys have any other questions, want to reach out to me, just let me know. Thanks. Take care.